Okay, I'm back. I'm just on a different phone and I'm trying to continue from where I left off before. But I'm trying to, gosh almighty, it's charging. You just can't continue to take, siphon, steal from divine beings because you want to. Um, God wanted me to take my protection away because sometimes, or most times, when people do harmful magic, you're grouped with other people and they're low vibrational, and you might not be truly a low vibrational being. Okay? And so you get sucked into something and you don't know how to get yourself out. You don't know how to say no. You want to be with the in crowd, with the people, and because that's popular, right? Okay. I'm going to tell you what God has told me. You have a way out. It is a new era in time. It is a new world. You have to operate out of love. You have to use your heart. So, think about if you are in a devilish nature and you've never used your heart and it's closed off and you didn't keep up with the eras in time and you didn't keep up with your abundance on where that's at, and you had a plan though, the harvest, from someone else, and you messed up the era in time. So even if you had to take the harvest approach, it would have to still be done with some care. Meaning, it's kind of like you saying, hey, young lady, I'm the devil. I'm one of the devils. I'm the representation of the devil, right? And I heard, or I know, based upon your genetic makeup, your DNA, what you are. And I want some of what you have, and this is what I want to use it for. Are you willing to accept what I want? And you would have to give me something in return if I accept it. And it's only for a certain amount of time. It's a contract still. It's just a contract without hidden motives to stick somebody in the end, or in the middle, or in the beginning. Because I said in other videos, the devil is in trouble because of you guys. The main Satan, Lucifer, devil, demon of the world is in trouble with God. Because, he's looking at, he's the king. He's running the world. And he's doing all the heinous things that he wants to do. And no one's stopping him. No one's telling on him. Everyone's scared. And they know everything that he's doing is wrong and bad, but they're still scared to do or say anything to him. Right? Okay. So what does God do? God takes the protection away from the devil. You know who that is? Moi. Okay? And so when God does that, that is essentially God saying to me, hey, your mission starts. And your intended target is the devil. Right? And you might say, huh? Right. Now, this is the kicker. I'm trying to get this ring and do this right on my finger. I'm sorry. But this is the kicker. This is the other thing that God kind of surprises you with is, your weapon that you're going to use to get the devil is love. Imagine if you are the devil, right? And you hear that. You're going to laugh. You're going to laugh. Yeah, you're going to think that, man, this is going to be an easy walk in the park to get her because she's operating off of something that is mushy, I'm trying to fix this thing. And it has no toughness to it. That's where you're wrong. Okay? This is when you need to turn that thinking cap on and really use that bitch. Okay? Love is what's created the universe, the stars, the moon, the sun, the planets, and you. And God keeps operating out of love because that's the only way you manifest in truth, in real time, and with a solid foundation, not faulty foundation. The devil is a faulty foundation because you're not going to God. You're going to the devil. So it doesn't matter how people look at me. It doesn't matter what people say about me. It doesn't matter if I went to 4 churches on one Sunday or I skipped church or whatever. Mosque, it don't matter. It doesn't even matter if I was educated on anything. All right? Whatever my status is in heaven, I would still be that here. Even with the lack of help, lack of knowledge, and the lack of forthright. Because the difference between the devil and God is the devil operates on a nature that is only set to where he failed to. Earth. And God operates on all areas of nature. Earth, wind, fire, air, atmosphere, universe, sun, moon, planets, zodiac, atmosphere, stars. It can keep going. When you're doing things with God and out of love, you're infinite. No matter what the devil produces, it's limited. Because the devil has limited access. He or she cannot go to the other realms. He or she cannot go through other doors. They can't commingle with those people. Okay, in order for them to do that, they have to be cloaked in someone else's divinity, or they have to be contracted in to someone else's divinity, married into it. They have to have something binding. Or they bind a person. And I was that person that was binded for years. So no one was supposed to be bound that long. And then some parts God looks at is that I was binded my entire life because my birthright was stolen. So, because it was stolen, and because my copycat wanted to get me out of here for a guy, right? He's a nice guy, good guy, you know, devilish nature, right? Everything that she did and still doing, alarms, every room. They set off bells in every room because everything was of a demonic nature. And then she was recruiting, or he was recruiting, or they were recruiting to still commit demonic acts basically on nature, on the universe, on Mother God, on Father God, on the devil even. Because the tricks that y'all play, the devil had already told y'all to stop. And you didn't listen. You didn't listen to the devil. You didn't listen to God. You didn't listen to the angels. And you didn't listen to your ancestors. And it's like you should not be wondering why you don't have access. It's just the same as if you knew you needed to be somewhere at 9 o'clock and the test was going to start at 9:15 and you got there at 9:30 and the doors are closed and locked, and no matter what excuse you try to give that teacher for them to open the door, the teacher says no because they're already testing and she wants to keep the peace and the quiet. For the people that abided by the rules to make it on time. Everything's based off of time. So the devil then look at the concept of time. The devil did not look at herself or himself. The devil never re-evaluated himself or his or her alliances. Because when you're going into the age of Aquarius, that's what we're in. If the devil doesn't love, right? No matter what, he still has to operate out of some form of love. Order is love. Checks and balances is love. Because that's where in your heart and your mind, or your decisions and choices and your actions, right? It's a level of care that goes into that. Because now even the devil is affected by your decisions. So it hurts him or her when he or she says, stop, you can't continue to do this. Don't do this. And you keep going. So it's like God doesn't have to kick you out of hell. The devil's going to kick you out of hell because you're affecting all of hell. So imagine your demonic nature, right? You're affecting all realms. You go to church. You're praying to God. Pretending probably to be the holiest of thou. Then You're going in your closet, or you're going in the woods, wherever the freak you go. You get with your people, right? You're going under the moon. Essentially, it can be looked at as the devil. It depends on what you're doing under the moon. Okay? And spirit is unseen. They see everything. Okay? So, you corrupted heaven. You corrupted earth. You corrupted spirit. And you corrupted hell. There are limits to all bad things. Because bad things don't have a continuation or a life factor attached to it. It only has an ending, a death factor attached to it. So when you reach your limit on all the realms, that's essentially what you've done. So I'm trying to explain the other thing that you've essentially done. Basically, you folk in your devilish nature was free, not bound, running around, having a good old time. I said this in another video. God wasn't free. God was locked up. That's where the slavery concept comes from. And you could say all day long, you don't want to believe me, that God was enslaved. I want you to take out your Bible. It covers the different eras in time. The enslavement of the people in the different eras in time were black people. They were called different names, but they were black people. All right? And then on top of it, when we're given the Bible, and it's supposed to be a righteous Bible, and they say they fought for Christianity. The people that came to fight, they fought to get the curses off of them. They fought to rid their people of karma by coming over to God's people land, messing with the gods, messing with the land, messing with the abundance, messing with the fruit, and keeping us down and out and crazy, crying, beat up. All those things are forms of transferring wealth. Health is wealth. And so, even in our time of captivity, and we're God's people, we were enslaved, and it fits a billion of us. You got to look at it like a foundation. You have to look at it like we're the statue. Okay? The silhouette of God. All of us encompassed together. Because the devil's concept was this. If they don't read the literature, have access to the literature, and we shun them, make it so they can't educate themselves, get them to fight against each other, okay? It's a blueprint. It's just like in behavioral health. The symptoms of that behavior are the same. The only thing that's different is the person. And then they got you thinking, instead of helping that person, you're going to talk shit about them. You're going to make them feel worse than what they already are. That's still keeping you separated from the God in you. And even if we're not in physical slavery, we are still in mental slavery. Because we know what happened to us. And even though we've tried to free ourselves, and we were not successful. The reason why we were not successful is because we adapted the concept of the oppressor. And even though you're your own person, you followed that blueprint. And you applied that blueprint even to your own people. You know? So, even if I'm connected to the Aboriginals, the Indians, the Caucasians, the Asians, the Africans, right? If they all had the same blueprint, you need to look at that like, no matter how long I've been here, no matter what I'm mixed with, doors are going to be closed and never open for me. Because I'm not accepting people for who they really are. That means, what are you doing? You're already on a PR campaign to dismantle, to destroy, to cause destruction. So the very thing that hurt you, bound you, and made you feel less than, you became. This is how the devil still walks the earth. And this was why God was trapped. Because the holes in the Bible are there for a reason. It doesn't matter if they have all the information hidden behind some doors that could free us all and get us all Christ conscious and right there at God's table, you know? They won't do it. Because it activates their culture's full karma. But it liberates our culture's full karma. The reason why it will eliminate the culture's full karma is because they tricked us with a treaty saying, hey, we know people are fucked up over here and they're doing so many bad things, and we just don't want our areas to be so corrupt, look so corrupt, and you guys have a good system over here, and we want them to be able to see what that is. So we want them to come and pay off their debt to our land over here in your land. So when some Indians were like, hell, fuck no, war. Then some Indians were like, fuck it. I want the resources. I need to keep some. Right? Then they divided us even more. Okay? By saying, you black folk, if you want to be Indian, go to the Indian reservation. If you want to stay on your original land, which is the Indian reservation, you will not be called an Indian. You will be outcast. No name. But them folk over there, them black folk. When in fact you're more than just black. Or Indian. Or Phoenician. Sumerian. You know. You're the beginning of time just like me. It doesn't matter who's listening to this. You're the beginning of time just like me. Because if I'm freeing curses from the beginning of time and my lineage to the beginning of time, and God knocks on my brain to say, hey, these people are trying to kill you for your status, your rank, your position, and I'm your father. For real. In the ethers. Me and your mama made you. And then what we did, we gave you a planet for your birthday, right? So that means any variation of color is free. I did the work to free God everywhere around the world. So guess what? The devil doesn't get to walk around the world free. Okay? It's like the devil can walk. Now the devil has to pay a toll. Now the devil has to be cautious. Now even the devil has to think about what he needs to do to get what he wants from the very people he tricked to enslave. Okay? So, when you wanted to go against me and still are against me, and you don't like me, you don't love me, and you wish all these bad things, and even though I can hear you in the spirit and you'll say, I didn't mean it, I'm sorry, da 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 da, and I might write something, or I might be angry as fuck, and I get on here and I say something, right? It's because God is in the upright. And you're in the upright era in time. That means you must show ownership, responsibility, accountability, compromise, understanding, which is the same as saying, hey, I recognize I have a problem. I've been walking too much on the dark side, and either I need to balance myself out or come all the way to the light. And the way I would know is going to God. And even though you could say you feel ashamed, you're scared, because you think about all the bad things you did, right? I don't want you to think like that. Because if that was the case, and I thought like that about all of you guys, you wouldn't have a choice or a chance to redeem yourself, to get back in the good graces of God. And you can look at it like, based upon what y'all did to Jesus, God said, y'all not doing it to her. And then the lost parts of Jesus, when he left at 13, he was smart. He got out of there. He ain't stayed surrounded with the negativity. He found peace, love, continue to ascend and educate, learn. Had a family of his own, showed his children. When you're free, the beginning of time, right? And if you are a twin flame or a soulmate of any kind of mind, whether you're a good angel or a fallen angel, you got Jesus' blood. And so if you tapped into your divinity, then you would understand. Or if you educate yourself, you'll still understand that it's no reason to be afraid of your dark side. And instead of you trying to control someone else with your dark side, you're supposed to learn how to control you. You can't get rid of your dark side. Just like you can't get rid of your light. The only way you can get rid of your light is if you do so many transgressions against God. You know? So part of why I was activated was because about 5 years ago, I think I said this, I married myself to Mama God, Father God, okay? And then even when the hits came to my home a year, some change ago, I became Christ conscious, okay? And then in my 20s, you know, I had died. I understood peace on a different level. And then also anything I do, I make sure I learn a lesson from it, because I don't want to repeat it. And thank God I think like that, because guess what? When you learn a lesson, God doesn't want you to repeat it. This world is big, and you're supposed to learn while you're here, and especially learn your place, your job, your position, or whatever you fucked up. Okay? And you did it so bad, right? And let's say you was on Mars. And God said, no, we can't keep you here because Mars doesn't tolerate XYZ. So we're going to send you to Earth. That's a fall. And fallen angel does not mean that you're just desolate, and you gotta just be evil fucking troll. It means you have lessons that you need to learn, and you haven't learned them because you keep making more problems or more lessons for you to learn. And then the other thing you do is you see a lesson, you avoid it, and then if you have to combat it, you combat it with a bigger problem. And you're thinking you're creating that problem for that person. You're not. You're creating it for yourself. Because that person has already solved it. When you do your magic and then you look in to see if it's taking place, right? And it doesn't, that means that person has been through that already. God's not going to take them back through it. No matter how hard you try, no matter how many people you get. It's like, the spiritual realm is like, check, she passed. And the whole time, they're doing like this. Check, she passed, she passed, she passed, she passed, she passed, she passed, she passed. So even if I had a little bit of karma, when I first became of age to understand things, I cleared it out. The ways I cleared it was, even if you upset me, I would say you upset me. Or if you blamed me, and I would say, hey, I don't give a shit. I didn't do it. I wasn't there. And yet you want to make me get in trouble. And you want to make me get that whooping. Right? And you get gratification out of getting me in trouble. Okay? The world and God, all of them understand that you intuitively know she has no karma and you want to give her some. So when you give her some, you can't get mad if it doesn't hit the same. Because she's already, or he's already been through the lesson, and they check it off and say, she passed. So your grumpiness, it doesn't matter. Your wishes don't matter. When your destiny is set, your destiny is set before you are birthed into this life. You can change your destiny according to your walk of life, which determines your new fate. I didn't do anything to ruin my destiny. I didn't do anything to anyone else to ruin my fate. And no matter the hard times, I stayed positive because I understood anything that I did, I knew it had an action and a reaction. And I would time it. I never put out bad action or bad reaction. So I knew I wasn't supposed to get negative action back. But people will force it on me based upon what they already knew. Who I was, how I would be, and whether I would get through it or not. Some of you just didn't care if I got through it or not at all, really. But when you purposely inflict karma on anyone and they don't have karma and they go through it anyway and they pass, and God checks my books and says, in her 45 years, she accumulated 10,000 points of karma. But at 22 years old, she got rid of her 10,000 points of karma. She is hit after 21 with 10,000 points of karma each from 10 people. She has accumulated 100,000 points of karma. God says, has she been here before? What was going on past life? Her abundance will get applied. But most importantly, her abundance gets applied to her lineage and to herself. Because all of the chosen people, all of the chosen of the world, you have no bad karma. You have been a catalyst to other people's karma. You're the beacon of hope for your family, your lineage, and the world. And the world knows it. They know. You just don't know. And so, because I'm the first to truly, fully awaken, I'm telling you. I'm telling you. So when you don't have any karma and you've successfully done your jobs, when you come to Earth or to another planet, your rank goes up. Your status goes up. And that could look like you're bumped up from an angel to a deity. Then you could be bumped up to, you got guides, you got seers, you got mediums, you got light workers, so imagine 20 times, over 20 times I come. I'm essentially an explorer. And I'm collecting precious gifts from the universe to eventually I become the universe. The reason why I become the universe is because I was successful every time I came. I ain't pissed God off. Even when you thought it was me dibbling and dabbling on the dark side, it wasn't. It was always a woman wanting my spot. And they think they would get it. And when they go after it, I would still be the same woman that ends up with the glorious spot. And you know how I figured that out? It's because when I became Christ conscious, first thing I heard was a female's voice, and she said, "Oh man, I wanted to be the empress." You know? That let me know I've been this so many times before. And people in different eras in time or lifetimes thought they could trick me out of it. And every lifetime, God comes and says, "Boop, it's your time, babe. You're up. Do your job." It's not favor. No. The reason why God taps on me isn't just because I'm his daughter. It's because I'm an angel. I'm a warring angel. I've collected gifts throughout my lifetimes. I use them for good. And I've collected different deities of gods because of my good deeds. So it is protection for me. It is my pass in the ethers. I did the work every time. Every time you do the work, you get rewarded. Okay? So even if I don't know who I am, and I'm curious to find out where I fit, and I go through history and I go through biblical and religion and I connect them dots, right? I'm walking in my destiny. Even though I don't understand, I'm walking in my destiny. I'm walking in it because I'm curious about it. I'm walking in it because I know I got to get to God to figure out what the fuck I am. And why in the fuck is everybody trying to kill me? Okay? So, God taps on me because I'm reliable. He's seen my work. He understands I'll get it done. He also understands that if I don't know something, I'm going to ask. He also understands that whenever he calls, I ain't going to question it. Who questions God? Now with you guys, I tried to picture myself in your shoes. And you're doing all these things. And if I read something and someone says they got all these qualities and things and that God tapped on their brain and the things that they were able to do off of a whim, off of thought, and off of just the curiosity of trying good, not trying bad, right? And I'm successful. That means I'm holding the frequencies the right thing. Wait. Okay? But when I read or I listen and it touches me even if it puts me in fear, what I read, I still will respect that person. I ain't talking no shit about that person. And I ain't looking at that no competition either. I ain't gonna try her. I ain't gonna try him. I automatically know that that's a motherfucker I need to learn from. See how different our thought processes are? No one can go through this world thinking that you know everything. Automatically, you should think, if I knew everything, then that means I can unlock the other 90% of my DNA. And since I have not been able to do that, shit, I don't know shit. I need to still be on a learning quest. I don't need to be on no competition, nothing. Because this world ain't made for you to be in competition with somebody else. It's made for you to be in competition with yourself. You know? And that's some real shit. Real shit. I ain't gonna keep going because, I got somewhere to go. And I gave a lot of information for people to think about. Look up even. And, I will be open for questions and doing things. Oh, man. I gotta put a battery in this thing. Or just being more out and open. But God has me secluded. It's not the other way around. And also too, when you are when you bad, right? I ain't trying to condemn you on your badness. I don't care if I can pass judgment. I'm not gonna do it because I don't want to give the wrong type of judgment. And even though I found God and they operate through me, I'm still giving that to them. You see that? That's the difference in the sacrifice. You want to sacrifice to kill me, right? And to get my position or whatever God has for me. I sacrificed myself to God. I want you to really understand that. I didn't sacrifice anyone else to the devil or to God. I sacrificed myself. I wasn't doing any sacrificing to hurt. Every sacrifice I did was to help. And believe it or not, that's what God said. I've been waiting on somebody to help me. Well, I've been waiting on somebody to find me. Better yet, I've been waiting on somebody to connect me back with my wife. My wife missing in the Bible. Or I'm waiting on somebody to connect me back to my roots. Because, see, I can't be the primordial God on earth if my children aren't free. Just a food for thought. But it's a whole lot of truth. This is why everybody in the world is important, but the 144,000, you're just as important, because God has already talked to you, has already entrusted you. He has, and she has faith in you, and you have a job to do. And even though they put all these obstacles in our way for us not to complete our job, I need for you to have optimism, faith, belief, and go within. Because even if you don't have the books that are hidden, it's hidden in your DNA. Unlock your DNA by going within and then going to God. Don't try and unlock your energy, because that's a form of DNA too, to go to me to get to God. This is how I'm trying to get you to understand how the devil tricked everybody, telling you got to go through Jesus to get to God. And Jesus is like, what? Hell no. Hell no. Jesus saw his end. Because when you got to go through to get, when you tap into energy, you are really violating that person's personal space, boundaries, body, free will, all that. And you know that I'm a part of Source, and you're doing it to contact Source. And so God is Source, and God is saying, what the fuck is you going through her for? Why are you messing with her? You know, why you inside of her body and doing this when you concerned about your own fucking body? Or you should be. You shouldn't be concerned about nobody else's body. You shouldn't be concerned about nobody else's fate. You shouldn't be concerned about nobody else's destiny, because that means you're insulting God. I gave you your own destiny. Because when you co-created with me, you showed me when whatever planet you was on, what you was about, and what you do, and what you did. So you got the appropriate destiny according to your walk in life. And so if you got a shitty ass destiny, you know what that means? It doesn't mean for you to stay fucking shitty. It doesn't mean for you to keep doing shitty shit and thinking it should be glorified. No, that means you got a ton of fucking lessons to learn. You haven't learned them. And so every step, every thought guides you out of that darkness to the light. All you have to do is do the opposite of your fucked up life. And automatically it will improve your life. Because you're thinking about your life. You're preserving your life. You're not doing more things to put you in a deaf state of life. This is what God is saying. This is why you cannot mess with a person's mind, mess with a person's will, and mess with a person like your God. Because God doesn't even do this to people. But he will watch you. And if you go too far, one, two things. He can tap on you to end you. Or he can tap on a person like me to awaken Stop doing things to a point where God has to make decisions for you to end you when you know good and well from the beginning of any form of time, we've asked for choices. We've asked to be included. We've asked for free will, free thinking. So imagine asking for that and you want the freedom of choice and you're making all the wrong choices. You keep making all the wrong choices and you keep thinking every time it's a different day, you're making the wrong choices, you're going to get a different result. No, it's just a different fucking day. The outcome was still the same. You didn't get anywhere. You wasted time, money, energy, thought. Most of all, you insulted God. You disappointed God. Because you're telling God that you don't like who you are, even though you're unique to yourself. You have your own vessel, your own soul, your own spirit. And you despise it. You despise it, and you drop it, and you leave it, and you don't care about it because you're looking at someone else's soul, spirit, destiny. And you're wanting to control that other person's fate. And you want to bend their will in your favor. Your will doesn't match God's will for that person. That means no matter how hard you try, you can't remove anyone's destiny, anyone's purpose, anyone's spirit, anyone's soul. And you get close. And to really tell you the honest to goodness truth, if you are able to remove that, okay, from someone, that person is equal to you. Their vibration is low. Excuse me. Like you. It's not an even compromise or swap when you picking somebody like myself, and I'm born more high vibrational than a lot of folk. And for everyone to think that even having a child like mine, that I'm stupid, gullible, naive. No, I am creative, ambitious, curious. Okay? And I understand that alchemy can be done both forms. It's duality. So I practice what I want to see, just like you practice what you want to see. But you need to think, when you don't practice anything that God wants to see, God could essentially not want to see you at all, because you've disappointed him or her that bad. Or God can see everything that you're doing, and he or she is still disappointed in what you're doing. So any end of the duality concept, you're shitting on yourself. Stop. Just stop. You have to think, whatever you're doing, is it worth your own life? And you also have to think, you're out and you're talking ill on someone else, you have to say to self, would I be able to handle that if that was me? Then the other is, if you want an act to happen to someone else, you still must think, would I be able to handle that if it happened to me? That's putting yourself in someone else's shoes, okay? And that's acknowledging proper thought in the upright. And then that's also bringing out the God in you, because you're taking the opportunity to think in a fair nature. Whether you know it or not, you are tapping into God when you do that. And God will help you with the answer. And so, if you still can't think for yourself, you need to think like this. In this existing life, have I been through this already before I cast this out into the ethers and wanted to hit this person? And if you've never experienced it, you better shut your mouth. Don't cast that out. Because when that boomerang come back, it's going to hit you like a ton of bricks, because you've never been through it. You've never experienced it, and you don't know how it feels. So when you put your intentions and hoping and wishing that it feels a certain way, harshly, for someone else, when the world delivers karma, whether it's in a 10-year cycle or a 12-year cycle, you have to look at it like a return to sender 10-fold or 12-fold. You're going to get hit worse. That's how I knew that my life was secure, because I've already died. And every type of death was peaceful. It didn't matter if it was an ego death. It didn't matter if it was a physical death. It didn't matter if it was a death to a concept or a belief or an ideology. No matter the form, it was peaceful for me. And the reason why it was peaceful for me, because I understood what I went through. I did not run from death. I understood that not only that it is a process of life, but it's also a process of peace and a continuation of life. You know? And if you think of death like turmoil, all right? What the fuck? This motherfucker stopped in the middle of the damn road while the light was green. I missed the light. Okay. I probably should have continued from wherever I was at, but that threw me off. And I'm going to say toodaloo. You know, I'm going to have 2 videos post, and I'll put one as the first part, and I'll put this as the second part. But, yeah. Grow your mind, your body, your soul, your intentions, how you view people, increase your gratitude, your love, and your concept of life, and try to refrain from just being so mean if you want to live. Okay? So, alright, peace.